Light a candle and watch it hold. A small, steady flame, leaning, recovering, burning for hours on a stick of wax. But here is the strange part. The wax you can touch is not what burns. The flame floats just above it, fed by something invisible. Tonight we slice the candle open and follow the fuel on its quiet journey, from solid to liquid to gas to light. A candle is almost nothing, a column of wax and a braided cotton wick running up its center. The wax is the fuel, packed tight and cold. The wick is not really the fuel at all. It is a delivery system, a wound rope of fibers full of tiny channels. Cold, it does nothing. But add a flame, and this simple pair becomes an engine that feeds itself. Watch how. Touch a match to the wick, and the cotton catches first, charring black. That early flame does one crucial job. It pours heat down onto the wax around the wick, and the wax begins to melt. A small, shallow pool forms at the top, clear and warm. The solid has become liquid. The candle now holds a little reservoir of fuel right where it is needed, waiting for the wick to carry it upward. Here the wick earns its name. Those countless fibers act like the thinnest of straws. Liquid wax is drawn into the gaps between them and climbs, pulled upward against gravity, the same way a paper towel drinks a spill. This is capillary action. No pump, no moving parts, just narrow spaces and a liquid that clings. Drop by drop, the melted wax rises through the wick toward the heat at the very top. Near the flame, the wick gets blisteringly hot, far hotter than the melting pool below. The liquid wax arriving there does not just get warm. It boils, then breaks apart into a cloud of wax vapor and lighter gases. This is the secret of the candle. The thing that actually burns is not solid wax and not liquid wax. It is this invisible vapor streaming off the wick, ready and waiting for a spark of its own. Now the vapor meets the air, and air carries oxygen. Heat tears the wax molecules apart, and the fragments lock onto oxygen, releasing energy in a rush. We call it burning. Each reaction throws off heat and light, and that heat keeps the next batch of vapor hot enough to ignite. The flame is not sitting on the wick. It hovers in a thin shell, just out where rising fuel and incoming air finally meet. Look closely, and the flame has layers. At the base, hugging the wick, sits a dim core of raw vapor that has not yet found enough oxygen. Around it, a faint blue ring burns hot and clean where air is plentiful. Above, the broad yellow glow we picture as flame. Each zone is a different stage of the same reaction, stacked in the air, drawn upward into that familiar teardrop shape. That warm yellow light is a small surprise. It is not the gas itself glowing. Deep in the flame, where oxygen runs short, the breaking wax leaves behind tiny specks of solid carbon, soot. The surrounding heat makes those specks glow, white-hot, like the filament in an old bulb. Most of them burn away completely before they reach the tip. The candle, in effect, makes its own glowing dust, then consumes it. Why does a flame point up and taper? Hot gas is light gas. The burning vapor expands, grows less dense, and floats upward, dragging the whole flame into a tall teardrop. As it rises, it pulls fresh, cool air in from below and around the base. That incoming air feeds the next reaction. The shape you see is not decoration. It is a slow, invisible chimney of rising heat and rising fuel. Now the loop closes. The flame's heat melts more wax in the pool. Capillary action lifts that wax up the wick. The heat boils it into vapor. The vapor burns, and its heat melts still more wax. Each step feeds the next, around and around, balanced. Melt too little and the flame shrinks. Melt too much and it floods. Left alone, the candle settles into a quiet, self-correcting rhythm that can hold for hours. This also explains how a breath ends it. When you blow, you do two things at once. You sweep the hot vapor away from the wick, and you cool the wick below the temperature it needs to make more. The chain breaks. Watch the thin ribbon of smoke that lifts afterward. That pale curl is unburned wax vapor, the fuel that was rising right up until the flame that fed on it went dark. So follow the whole chain once more. Heat from the flame melts solid wax into a pool. Capillary action draws that liquid up the wick. At the top, fierce heat boils it into invisible vapor. The vapor meets oxygen and burns, throwing off heat and glowing soot. That heat melts the next wax and the cycle repeats. Solid to liquid to gas to light, a tiny self-feeding engine standing on a string. A candle is a loop you can hold in your hand. Quiet, patient, feeding itself one drop at a time, turning solid into light. Next time one is lit, watch the empty space just above the wick. That is where the real fuel gathers and where the burning truly happens. Now you can see it. We will see you in the next cutaway.